What a tangled web we weave when we decide to hang out with Nazis. I was trying to make something rhyme, but I don't know what rhymes with Nazi. Asshole. We'll use that. But last night, if folks have not seen, we're going to get into the absolute hot mess that went down on CNN on Abby Phillips' show. And, I go to bed early. And I also have an entire regimen that does not include news after a certain hour. And yesterday, and what I woke up to this morning is the reason why, folks. So, welcome to the Danielle Moodie Show, dear ones. Let's get into it. Grab your mocktail and your cocktail because today is going to be one. All right, my dears, I am super excited. First off, just a quick announcement. We are doing something different today. So fingers crossed technology works that we are multicasting on Mary Trump Media and over here on my channel, as well as in the Twitterverse. We're trying to reach as many people as possible, dear friends. So welcome to all of you. So glad to see you. If you are watching this, you should watch it on my YouTube and be in the chat with all of these fabulous people over here because the conversations are lit and I just adore it. All right. So without further ado, let's jump into today. I cannot, is it just me or can you believe that it's only Tuesday? Because it feels like the longest week ever, and we're only 2 days in. And I don't know, friends, how we're going to make it for another whole week to election. Can you imagine? We are 7 days away from the last day to vote. Tell me, friends in the chat, how many of you, by a show of hands, have already voted? I went to my polling place here in Brooklyn. I have to go back because the early voting they hadn't set up yet for whatever reason. So I'm hoping to early vote this week because I have made a conscious plan to be with my family on election day because I don't want to ride out whatever the hell this is alone. I think that everyone, if you live alone or what have you, like you should have a plan of how you are going to bring this night in. Of course, I will be with all of you on somebody's live stream, and I'm assuming I'll be on Mary's live stream and Mehdi Hassan's live stream at some point. So I will be in the sphere, but like physically in a room, I kind of need to be with my family. So tell me what your plans are. Have you made one yet? Because let me just say, um, you know, don't be alone. I will say that. Even if you can't physically be with like be online, be in space, be in community, just don't be alone next Tuesday. I think all of us need to be in community with people. So all right. And also, another note before we dive in, I am going to be over on Mary Trump's channel at 7 p.m. Eastern tonight to watch the vice president's closing argument. Her speech is happening at the Ellipses at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. And so we're going to, my friend Jen and I, fellow Nerd Avenger, are going to hop on Mary's page at 7 p.m. Eastern. So you get a double dose of me in one day if you decide to follow us over there. All right. That was just a little housekeeping. Let's get into it. So, How does one explain what happened on CNN last night? I don't really know. But I will read you what Keith Boykin wrote on his social media, which was this. One day, they're in Madison Square Garden joking about Puerto Ricans as garbage and Black people eating watermelons. The next day, they're on CNN joking about Muslims being blown up by beepers. Every day, we normalize Trump's crimes and behavior. His followers grow bolder. Why is anybody surprised that when you invite a racist into your home and they say racist shit, that all of a sudden people are shocked by that? Because if you have not set the stage that certain behavior like lying, racism, bigotry are not accepted on your channel, then guess what? Then it won't happen. But if you continue to have a revolving door of people from Trump's administration, people from Project 2025, anyone from Trump's circle, and bring them on to your network, and then want to turn around and be like, oh my God, I can't believe he said this most offensive thing. It's like, okay, so if I pour blood into the water where a bunch of sharks live, am I then shocked when I jump into the water and I'm eaten by the sharks? People, let's not be stupid, okay? But that's exactly what CNN has been doing. And they have normalized Donald Trump. They have normalized MAGA. They have turned it into a both sides where we're going to be in quote unquote discourse about my humanity. Because that's what these people are arguing. They're not arguing, folks, about policy because Donald Trump doesn't have any. Remember, he has concepts of a plan. He doesn't actually have a plan. So when you bring these people on and then they go off unhinged and say some hot, disgusting shit, let's not all grip our faux pearls and clutch them and say, oh my God, I can't believe this guy. Like, really?
Want to be called Nazis? Stop doing.
You're called an
You've
been called an anti-Semite more than anyone else at this table.
Yeah.
And people will sit there and no, by me. I never called you an anti-Semite. Okay. I mean, I'm not sitting here saying
I'm a supporter of the Palestinians, so I'm used to it.
Yeah, I hope your beeper doesn't go off. The thing is that
you just say I should die.
You should not.
No,
did you just say I should be killed?
No, I did not say that. No, I did not say that.
Hold on.
Did your guest just say I should be killed on live TV?
I said I hope you
don't. Let me just stop.
You said you hope my beeper doesn't go off.
Because you said I'm a big supporter
of the Palestinians.
Of Hamas.
Guys, let me stop.
Palestinians.
Are you a supporter
of
Hamas?
what? No, of course I'm not a supporter of
Palestinians
Hamas.
are
Are
you a racist, violent person inciting violence against me?
Ryan,
that's disgusting.
that is completely.
Then I apologize.
Good job, CNN. Let's have first block say the Muslim guy should be blown up.
I apologize.
On TV.
Don't say then I apologize. You literally.
I thought you said Hamas.
You didn't think I said Hamas.
No,
I said I
didn't.
support Palestinian rights.
Yes, I did.
Why? Because when you hear
What's funny
Palestinian,
is Rudy Giuliani said this yesterday, so you're a great guest to be here to defend Rudy Giuliani.
I wasn't going to entertain nonsense today, and so at this point,
this is what we're in now. This is America in 2024.
Here's what I will say.
Forget the racism.
That's right.
It's I should
That's
die.
right.
I didn't say that. You
said
die.
what does beeper mean? Don't give me your fake ignorance.
I did not say you should die.
Why did you say with my beeper?
So what did you mean?
What did you mean by the beeper?
So
what did you mean by the beeper? No, you didn't. You said I hope your beeper doesn't go off.
Ryan, stop talking.
At least have the guts to support your racist comment.
Hang on.
I'm so sorry.
Gotta bring it back.
This is why yesterday's rally was disgusting.
Don't call us Nazis, but I'm going to threaten the brown guy as a terrorist and kill him.
Because I didn't ever say Donald Trump was Hitler. But do you know who stood on a stage yesterday and said, I want to come to the Nazi rally? I don't have to make up words and call you something. You're saying it for yourself. And what you just said
Kamala
right
Harris
here,
is a pimp.
apologize, but I will tell you, I don't accept that apology, and you didn't even say it to me.
That's fine. I didn't say it
that
to
was
you.
disgusting. But I can be offended when you don't even say it to me. I'm not Puerto Rican, but I was offended by what he said yesterday. And I'm offended that the former president and potentially future president would allow it and go for 12 hours and not say, I don't care. Because you know what? When Kamala Harris put out statements about switching up opinions, it wasn't good enough for Republicans.
Why are you looking at me?
Because you said it.
Why don't you take this back a little?
You see that the only person at that table that came to Medi's defense was a Black woman, was another person of color. Because you saw, right, those other folks sitting there with their smirks on their faces, not saying a goddamn thing. This is what I say, what I mean when I say have the difficult conversations, because when you're sitting at a table, you're in a break room, you're going to lunch, right? And you hear somebody say some hot shit. Don't just sit there and laugh or sit there silently or sit there and clutch your pearls and not say anything, because that means that you're complicit. So everyone outside of Ashley Allison sitting at that table, right? And also Abby, because it's her goddamn show, just sat there. That man, Ryan, what is his name? Gurdusky, looked across the table at Mehdi Hassan and made the connection in his small, narrow brain that by having the audacity to support the Palestinian people and support their humanity and right to self-determination and to live, I hope your beeper doesn't go off. By the way, there had been recent attacks with beepers being bombs. So what he was saying in no uncertain terms was, I hope you die. This is how far into I don't even know where we are, folks, because there has to be something lower than the gutter, right? There has to be something more disgusting than a gas station toilet bowl, right? There has to be something that is worse than hell. But that is where the hell we find ourselves today in our politics. Because this is what happened at Madison Square Garden. This is the emboldening that happened there. I told you folks yesterday, all of this is strategy. All of this was completely important for them to show this force, these numbers at Madison Square Garden, to be in the bluest of blue states and then show up, right, in your red MAGA Nazi garb and say, I can do and say whatever I want. The things that Ryan Gurdusky said last night on CNN, Rudy Giuliani had said on stage at Madison Square Garden the day before. When you give people an inch, right? When you give racists an in and you validate their opinions, you open the door for bullshit like this. So this is what Abby said following.
Hey, I'm sure everyone has seen what happened on the show tonight. I just wanted to address one quick thing. As you may have seen, Ryan was asked to leave the show, and we have put out a statement saying that he's not welcome back on our air. There is a line here on this program.
One wouldn't know.
Crossed. But I want to be clear as well that we did not ask Mehdi to not come back. In fact, we really wanted him to come back and finish the show. We had a lot to talk to him about. And we really hope that he'll join us again soon. But for those of you who are wondering why he did not come back, I just want to be super clear that that was not in any way because we didn't want him back at all. And I won't speak for him, but I just wanted to make sure that you all knew that that was not what happened there.
So here's a look at the statement then following Abby's video. CNN put out their formal statement that reads, "There is zero room for racism or bigotry at CNN or on our air. We aim to foster thoughtful conversations and debate, including between people who profoundly disagree with each other, in order to explore important issues and promote mutual understanding. But we will not allow guests to be demeaned or for the line of civility to be crossed. Ryan Gurdusky will not be welcome back at our network." So Really? This is the line, right? Because if you've been watching CNN, which I stopped watching a while ago, I will see clips and I'll post clips here, but I don't watch CNN because when they decided to make their network a revolving door for Trump apologists to rebrand themselves as serious people after being in Donald Trump's administration and ripping children away from their families and targeting the trans community and saying that Nazis are good people. And oh, for some people, the line for them was January 6th, but they were all the way okay with the marathon of mayhem that Donald Trump had been running for 4 years. But oh, on that day, Donald Trump went too far. So CNN has been totally okay with all of the people that have been coming on their network and lying and the insinuations and euphemisms that they use. Ryan just decided, I don't need to use euphemisms. I'm going to say what I'm going to say. And he thought he was being slick about it. He thought that Mehdi Hassan was just going to sit there and be like, oh my, right? These people do not know what to do when they have met their match. And this is why I implore all of us. It does not matter, folks, whether or not you are Puerto Rican. What was said about Puerto Rico and Puerto Ricans was disgusting and should offend everybody. It shouldn't matter if you are trans or know somebody that is trans. The attacks that the trans community has faced at the hands of MAGA should offend everybody. It doesn't matter whether or not you are Black. If somebody says something that is racist and derogatory and disgusting, it is incumbent upon you, right, to stand with that person. You don't get to say, oh, but it wasn't me. If you were standing there and said nothing, then it was you. Here's something that has been going around the internet for a while now. And I actually want to bring this up here, which is I've been seeing a lot of folks, and I think that I might have said it myself, but this kind of stuck with me when John posted this. He posted this. I see a lot of ladies, a lot of, quote, ladies, no one has to know who you voted for, posts and ads. I'd like to say, ladies, if you're with somebody you have to hide your vote from, they don't deserve to have relational proximity to you, and you should strongly consider an alternative. I'd also like to say, guys, if you're voting for a sexual assaulter and or intimidating or bullying a woman into doing the same, you're a lousy man and a shitty human being. Folks, here's the thing. I saw this and I was just like, oh my God, you're damn right. I thought that it was kind of funny initially when I saw it that, ladies, no one has to know who you voted for. And then when he put it in these contexts, I'm like, are these women, are we like collectively making a meme about emotional abuse? By telling women, oh, don't be afraid of voting because he'll never find out? Is that what we're setting up here, as opposed to you asking the question why you are with somebody who does not share your values? And friends, look, if you just woke up and got hip to the fact that the person that you are with is a Trumper, then you have real serious questions to ask yourself and the people around you. People have been doing this for the last 9 years, recognizing that they have family members who have voted in a way that would take away their autonomy, take away their voice. You can't, right, be my friend or my lover by day, right, and then go vote to ensure my enslavement at night. That is not how this fucking works, folks. And so I say that because I have seen this far, far too many times. Far too many times. And it has really it has really upset me because I think to myself about the ways that Donald Trump and MAGA Republicans want to go back to a time when women had no voice. I've talked about this on multiple shows. In Project 2025, one of the things that they talk about getting rid of is no fault divorce. No fault divorce is something that came about, folks, so that you did not have to convince a judge of you being in danger in order to get a divorce. You could just say, I no longer want to be married to this person, so I'm going to file a divorce. But just so folks understand, that was not always the case. A law was passed so that women did not have to stay in violent and abusive relationships and then have to bring their case to a judge who could very well decide, no, I think that you should stay with them. You haven't convinced me enough. So when JD Vance was recently on, clipped showing his misogynistic tour divorce that he did with all of these bro podcasters, he talked about we shouldn't be able to just change our spouses the way that we change our socks. That's what he said. So what you want to do is to create the conditions that had American women stuck and in fear because their entire existence, their entire lives were entangled to the power and permission of a man, whether that man was their husband or their father. You see, folks, like you have to understand the laws that were granted over the last several decades that gave women the kinds of power that MAGA Republicans led by Donald Trump and JD Vance want to take away. So again, if you are one of those women, people that find yourself in relationship with somebody that you can't have civil discourse with, or that is voting against your morals and your rights, folks, it's time to have a come to Jesus moment, a come to universe moment, a come to self moment. When people say that they don't talk about politics, so you mean you don't talk about your life? You mean you don't talk about what matters? What y'all talking about then? Because if you're a racist, I need to know that up front, not years into a relationship. If you're a homophobe or a transphobe, those are the questions that I'm asking full out, right? You don't need to be as invested day in day in politics in the way that I am, but you sure as hell need to share the same values as me if we gonna be sharing a bed and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Just some food for thought out there, friends. Some food for thought. I want to play this because again, just in case you weren't aware of the utter and complete gaslight that we've all been experiencing. Listen.
Anybody has ever seen anything like what happened the other night at Madison Square Garden? The
what
of that
now?
room, it was breathtaking, and you could have filled it many, many times with the people that were unable to get in. But politicians that have been doing this for a long time, 30 and 40 years, said there's never been an event so beautiful. It was like a love fest, an absolute love fest, and it was my honor to be involved. And hopefully, they started to say, well, in 1939, the Nazis used Madison Square Garden. Well, and you know what? But can you imagine it? In 1939, the Nazi, they would. But how terrible to say, right? Because, they've used Madison Square Garden many times. Many people have used it, but nobody's ever had a crowd like that. And I tell you what, right now, nobody's ever had love like that. That was love in the room, and it was love for our country. It was really love for our country.
It explains so much you know, I'm not a psychologist, but it explains so much about Donald Trump that two events that he thinks are love fests. One, January 6th. Nothing but love, love fest. I saw nothing but love that day as over 140 police officers were being beat, bear sprayed, literally defecating in the halls of power. That was a day of love for Donald Trump. Then Madison Square Garden, where they said that folks who do not agree with Donald Trump, the enemy within should be quote unquote slaughtered. Nothing but love there when you're talking about killing the people who disagree with you. It says so much, right? Because, sir, where was their love? Right? The love that you have for yourself, I'm sure, is constantly on display. But the love that those people have for America, they love America as much as the Confederates did. Loved it so much that they wanted to secede. But again, Donald Trump holds Robert E. Lee up as his, like, man of virtue. The man is a fucking criminal. Like, but maybe, just putting it out there, maybe if America hadn't put up statues and named high schools and highways after people in the Confederacy, then maybe Donald Trump's mind wouldn't have been so warped into believing that this was somebody to be celebrated. Because it wasn't until the 21st century when we decided that we should, take some of these monuments down. You think? Oh, but this also gets better because it wasn't enough for Ryan Gordusky to get kicked off of CNN, not to return again. But this is what this MFer had posted yesterday. And, you know, thank you, Ali Velshi, for quote retweeting. But he said, you can stay on CNN if you falsely call every Republican a Nazi and have taken money from Qatar-funded media. Apparently, you can't go on CNN if you make a joke. I'm glad America gets to see what CNN stands for. I'm glad that the world got to see what MAGA stands for. Because when Donald Trump was given an opportunity to denounce white supremacy, he doubled down on it. When Donald Trump was given an opportunity to say that he does not stand with the likes of the Proud Boys, he told them to stand back and stand by. When we saw in the boat parade in Florida, boats going down the river that had Nazi flags and Trump flags flying on the same mast, Donald Trump didn't come out and say, that doesn't represent my values. So if you find yourself surrounded by a bunch of Nazis and those Nazis don't espouse the same values as you, then guess what I would do? I would denounce the Nazis. But also, it's really funny to me that he talks about money being taken from Qatar. Just FYI, Jared Kushner took $2 billion from Mohammed bin Salman, a known fucking murderer who killed an American journalist. $2 billion. He walked out of the White House, got his money, and then kept it pushing. But Merrick Garland, no investigation into that quid pro quo. You want to talk about who's being funded by the Saudis? Miss me with it. So when Ali Velshi says, this is the definition of gaslighting, he is 100% right. He said, you said a disgusting racist thing live on air, and now you're deflecting. You know shutting up is free, and in your case, probably less damaging. But every time that you give these people an opportunity to shut the fuck up, they just keep talking. It's wild to me. Absolutely wild. And then you have folks like this. Trump allies bemoan Madison Square Garden's rallies racist and vulgar comments. Is that right? Or do you bemoan the fact that everybody saw it? do you bemoan the fact that it was so raw to its core with xenophobia, racism, and misogyny that the New York Times ran out of euphemisms in their thesaurus of Trump and actually just had to call it what the fuck it was, which was racist and bigotry. So maybe, if in fact Kamala Harris is able to win, maybe the MSG event will go down in history as the great unveiling of who MAGA is for all of those ostriches that have wanted to keep their heads buried in the sand for the last 9 years and pretend that they didn't see nothing, didn't hear nothing, so won't say nothing. I'm telling you, folks just make me angry. Oh, it's 30 minutes in already. Okay, stay with me. Because I need to show you this. Y'all know that I can't stand Ted Cruz, right? And there has been so much gerrymandering that is done in Texas that I don't know if Allred has a chance. I do know that he is neck and neck, right? So if you are in the chat and you are from Texas, I hope that you are simultaneously watching this and knocking on doors. I hope that you are doing the most and texting and calling. If you are not in Texas and you have the time and ability, like, get out the vote, right? We are a week out. But look at what Ted Cruz was caught doing. School asked Ted Cruz to stop using image of girls in trans attack ads without permission. Okay, so get this. An Oregon school district asked Senator Ted Cruz to pull 2 attack ads about transgender athletes because his campaign, wait for it, used an image of 2 underage girls who aren't transgender without the permission of their family. The 2 ads feature a picture of girls at a track meet along with text saying his Democratic opponent, Representative Colin Allred, voted to allow boys in girls' sports. So you want to attack trans youth, and then you want to use cisgender girls who are not AI generated, but actual real life girls who are not even from your state in an ad to try and scare people into voting for you because you're afraid of trans youth. Folks, I can't think of anything more disgusting and despicable. I mean, I can, right? But underage children that you just his team just grabbed their photos from the internet, didn't check with their family, didn't check to see if they were real people? Can you imagine what those young people now are dealing with because they have an elected official that just quote unquote outed them as trans, but they're cis and they're not even from his goddamn state? What are we doing? What are we doing here, folks? It makes no sense. And all this does is not only endanger those girls who are not even linked to this campaign whatsoever, and I pray that their parents sue Ted Cruz and his campaign. But on top of which, the danger that you put trans children, the most marginalized with the highest suicide rates through, because what? You want to beat them into some false dichotomy of a gender binary that was made up? And the sole purpose of it being made up was to consolidate power inside of the patriarchy so that everyone assumes their gender roles? Folks, that's all this is about. All I have to say to you, you don't have to know trans folks, again, to give a damn. But what you do have to know is that if somebody tells you who they are, believe them. If somebody says to you, these are my pronouns, fucking use them. Because if I tell you that my name is Danielle, and then tomorrow you're like, hi, Stacy. And I'm just like, no, my name is Danielle. But you say, but you look like a Stacy. Do you see how stupid that sounds? That's exactly what we do to trans folks when we don't take them as they are asking us to. And we don't acknowledge them. And we try and dehumanize them because it makes us feel comfortable. We have to ask ourselves, who is this comfort really for and about? Because it's not for any of us. Because I'll tell you, at the end of the day, kids, these little kids that are playing sports, they don't give a fuck. They just want to be on somebody's team. So why would you take that opportunity away from them? I have no idea. But here we are. Here we are, folks, with a week to go. We will end with some good news, which is this. Barbara Bush, the younger one, has decided to not only endorse Vice President Kamala Harris, but she has been out in Pennsylvania knocking on doors and campaigning with the vice president. Lord only knows where her absentee father is, because he hasn't come out and said a goddamn thing, which again speaks volumes, but very proud of her utilizing her platform and her voice to do what's right. And I don't know if she's a Republican, to be honest. I'm assuming that she is. But again, using her platform that she has and her voice to decide to go out and campaign for the vice president, I think is a wonderful thing. And this too. Today, either was today or yesterday, but President Joe Biden stood in line to cast his ballot for the vice president today. And I want to read you what Katie Fang wrote. She said, he's patiently standing in line waiting to vote. Stop for a second and think about what this moment means for him, what this moment could have meant for him. And then thank Joe Biden for being selfless and for making one of the hardest decisions in his life, not about him, but about us. I want that to sit with us because we see and hear so much hate and have become so accustomed to callousness, to toxicity, that we forget that people, our elected leaders, are supposed to be better, right, than what we have seen over the last 9 years. Joe Biden is a reminder of decency, of empathy, of kindness and compassion. Things that Donald Trump and MAGA Republicans are completely void of, and they celebrate it, folks. That's what Sunday was. It was a celebration of their depravity. This picture had me choke up today when I saw it, because it was supposed to be him voting for him. And when he said at the DNC, reciting the song that he loves, America, I gave you my best, this is what it looks like to give your best. So to close out today, this tonight is going to be historic. The vice president will give her closing argument, not with a group of Nazis at Madison Square Garden, but with tens of thousands of people at the Ellipses at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. She will stand before the American people in the same spot that Donald Trump stood on January 6, 2021, where he told people to go take their country back. She will stand in that spot and tell us her vision for an America that turns the page on Donald Trump. This is a part of what she will say tonight. America, we know what Donald Trump has in mind: more chaos, more division, and policies that help those at the very top and hurt everyone else. I offer a different path, and I ask for your vote. And here is my pledge to you. I pledge to seek common ground and common sense solutions to make your lives better. I am not looking to score political points. I am looking to make progress. I pledge to listen to experts, to those who will be impacted by the decisions I make, and to people who disagree with me. Unlike Donald Trump, I don't believe people who disagree with me are the enemy. He wants to put them in jail. I'll give them a seat at my table. And I pledge to be a president for all Americans, to always put country above party and above self. So I hope you all will join me over on Mary Trump's channel at 7 p.m. Eastern, where I will be watching the vice president's speech live with all of you, alongside my friend Jen Taub, who has her show, Jen Live, every morning, that you should be checking out. And so, friends, I leave you with this. The decisions are very clear. The lines have been drawn. Too many of them in the last 9 years have been crossed. And we have a choice about how we want to move forward. Whether we want to move forward with the anvil that is MAGA, or whether we are ready to not only turn the page, but put that book in the trash where it belongs. That is it for me today here, friends, on the Danielle Moodie Show. If you are liking these videos, if this is your first time and you never want to miss an episode again, do like and subscribe. It means so very much to the algorithm and to me. Do like and subscribe and share with your friends. We are building a community here, and I am live Monday through Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern. And sometimes I go a bit over, but you all still rocked with me. So that was what was amazing. But please do continue showing up. And I'll see you all at 7 p.m. Eastern over on Mary's channel. As always, dear friends, power to the people, and to all the people power. Get woke, stay woke. Stay sane, and in these extraordinary times, please stay safe. See you soon. Thank you all in the chat so very much. So very much. And I apologize. Today is Town Hall Tuesday. But because I have to run over and only have a little bit of time, I will pick up and I'll do the town hall tomorrow. So if you have your questions, keep them for tomorrow. Also remind me tomorrow, but I will do the town hall tomorrow then. Until then, I'll see you guys at 7 p.m. All right.